What's up, everyone? We're back with another episode of the Jellison podcast, and they have a very special guest, Memphis Grizzlies rookie Sean McDermott. Sean, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yep, for sure. Thanks so much for doing this. So talk about how your first few weeks of being an official NBA player have been like.
Yeah, it's been an adjustment. It's a job now, so trying to get in the routine of approaching it like a 9 to 5 job. Not saying that you don't approach it like that as an amateur, but now it really is your livelihood's on the line. So you have to go out and improve yourself every day. But it's been an adjustment. The speed of the game has picked up. The players are obviously better now. So just trying to find spots where you can fit in and stand out a little bit and make those adjustments pretty quickly here.
hmm And then obviously we're in the midst of this whole COVID-19 pandemic. How has COVID kind of impacted your first little stretch in the NBA, and what kind of protocols do you guys have to follow on a daily and weekly basis?
Yeah, it's pretty extensive. You kind of see what they've done with the NFL, and now the NBA is trying to adopt that, not being in the bubble anymore. So testing protocols every day. We have to wear a sensor that tracks the contact tracing, making sure that we're not exceeding that time limit if somebody was to test positive. Masks are always on in the building, except if we're practicing. But it's been pretty extensive process to make sure that everybody's staying safe and healthy.
hmm And if you visit like another city, do you guys have to stay locked down in your hotels or wherever you're staying?
Yeah, pretty much. There's an approved list of restaurants that you can go to, but beyond that, it's pretty much stay in your room, and that's all right with most guys. I think they understand what's going on, and we're here to take care of business and try and rack up some wins and get to the playoffs. So nobody's going to jeopardize that by going and doing something that they shouldn't be.
And is that the same like at home? Do you have to stay in your apartment or house?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Obviously, you can get out, go to the grocery store, do whatever you have to do, but beyond that, the NBA's made it pretty clear that you don't need to be places that you shouldn't be. So again, select restaurants, you should be kind of away from anybody else that's dining in the restaurant. Just making sure that you're staying safe in both your home market and away.
hmm Making sure you're not getting any wings like Lou Williams.
Yeah, don't do that.
Um, so what are where are some places that you'll be excited to experience and kind of go and check out once this time of COVID is over? I know obviously in the NBA you're going to several different cities that are pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think just the opportunity to explore. I don't know that there's select stuff that I want to go do, but just to be able to get outside and explore the cities a little bit, maybe just even walk around. Right now, like I said, it's pretty much you're in lockdown, but just get out. All the cities I think will be cool to experience. Even in Memphis, I haven't been able to get out and do a ton because of the restrictions here. So I think it'll be cool once stuff kind of loosens up to get out and even experience Memphis. So
hmm And what is your practice schedule looking like? I know you guys are off today, but when you go in, do you guys get tested every single day? And before you go in, you have to get temperature checks and things of that nature.
yeah, so you go in the morning, usually get tested, and then there's a little window for most guys. I actually had COVID late October, early November, so I'm still at a point where I'm probably not getting it with that 3 month time frame. So my testing isn't as extensive as everybody else's right now. So I go in, do my test, and get straight to it. Other guys are, waiting in their cars, waiting for their results to come back before they can even enter the building and start practice. So get the test, then you have, your weights, your vitamins, as we call them, your pre-practice stuff, just working on your shot, working on your handle, some of that stuff. Then we get into practice, and some guys have some post-practice stuff, but that's a practice schedule right now. In the swing of games where you're playing 2 games in 2 days or 2 games in 3 days, whatever it may be. You don't have a ton of time to practice and really go at it. So just doing what you can on your own, as well as getting with the coaches for an hour or two a day and trying to get some work with them.
Mhm. And have you had that kind of realization moment of like, holy crap, I'm actually in the NBA now?
Yeah, I think it kind of hit me in the preseason just being out there, but then um, go playing the Lakers the other day and LeBron kind of taking over at the end of the game, you kind of see one of the greatest of all time up close and personal and his ability to take over a game. So now it's about us finding adjustments and being able to close out those games. But I think that was the point where I was like, yeah, I'm here, and these guys are serious.
Hmm. Were you a little starstruck about like seeing LeBron up close and personal? I know I talked to Kyle Guy and he was kind of taken aback by it when he played the Lakers last year.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm necessarily starstruck. I look at him; he's another man. But I think the thing is like I said, these guys are really good, and that's what hits you when you. It's one thing to watch it on TV, but then to see how these guys play up close and personal, and be able to hear their voices and how they're leading their teammates, and guys on our team doing the same thing. You know, Ja doing the same thing as a second year guy. It's really cool to see, but again, they're just men and they're out there playing the game and making a living for their family too.
Hmm. And how's Jaw doing with his rehab? I saw he got hurt a week or two ago, maybe.
Yeah, seems to be doing really well. I think he's on pace to be back in the time frame that they had said. So, looking forward to getting him back. Obviously, we have some other guys that are out right now that'll make a big impact. So,
Mm.
just looking forward to the whole team being healthy.
And then I was curious about the process of going undrafted and then signing with the team. You're on a two-way contract. So what is
Mhm.
that process like? So you go undrafted. Do teams reach out to you, or do you and your management or your agent? Do you guys reach out to them? How does that work?
Yeah. So, prior to the draft, I had talked to 20 of the 30 teams. So I was able to do some interviews with those teams and was able to work out with the Grizzlies. And then draft night, I knew I wasn't getting drafted. I didn't expect to be drafted. It was about somebody giving me a shot, and the Grizzlies did. They reached out as soon as it was over and kind of extended the two-way offer, and we jumped on it right away. So they reached out to us, but it was going in with the mindset that I wouldn't be drafted. Now it's about trying to carve out a path, an unconventional way.
Hmm. And what kind of stood out about the opportunity in Memphis that made you want to join them?
I just think the organization is run really well. It seems to be very similar to what I experienced at Butler, where the culture is really good. Nobody's out there doing their own thing. Everybody's working as a team to win, and that's the number one priority of the organization is to win. There doesn't seem to be any distractions anywhere. Everybody's locked in on what they need to do, and that's exactly how it was at Butler. So it was pretty smooth transition for me in that sense.
Hmm. And obviously, we wish this wasn't the new normal with COVID and all that. But what do you think about hopefully the future with fans? And do you think that it's been easier or more difficult, just given with your transition, given all the protocols and everything that's going on?
Yeah, I think some of it makes it more difficult, but at the same time, when you're taking your first shot in the NBA and there's not 20,000 fans in there, that makes it a little easier. But at the same time, once you're out on the court, you're not thinking about who's in the stands or what's behind you. So I think it'll be really cool to get the fans back in there and really get to experience it. I think that's one thing where it still hasn't really hit me hard that I'm in the NBA because I haven't got to get the full experience yet. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hmm. And I wanted to touch on this a little bit, but not too much. Um, your journey to the league has been pretty incredible, in my opinion. When you were in high school, you had the situation diagnosis of staph. Uh,
Mhm.
Talk me through that whole situation and um, how that's kind of ushered you or helped you in any way, I guess, after that.
Yeah, that was a rough time. My junior year of high school, I actually felt like I was playing my best basketball maybe up until my junior or senior year of college. Like I felt that's where I was going into my junior year of high school. With my game, I'd never been more confident and was having really good practices leading up to the first game, and all of a sudden just felt really sick in a practice. Um, Long story short, went to the hospital multiple times, not feeling well. They sent me back saying I was dehydrated. Finally, one day, I think it was like the fourth or fifth day of us going into the hospital, they realized that something was really wrong. They were going to lifeline me, but ended up having me go by ambulance to Riley Hospital in Indy. And that's where they found out that it was a staph infection, but they had to rule out some pretty serious stuff before that. So spent 8 days in Riley and then a long recovery to even get back to playing basketball. I think I missed 6 or 7 games. Probably should have sat out the whole year because I wasn't even close to ready to play basketball again. But like I said, I don't feel like I really got back to 100% until two, 2 or 3 years ago. Honestly, where my body felt like it did before. So it was a long process, but I think it made me more mentally tough. Um, Up to that point, I basketball was all I knew. It was all I cared about. It made me adjust my mindset. It made me appreciate things more. And then it made me work harder because you never know when something can be taken from you. So just approached the game differently, had a different mindset, and I think that really helped me get to here.
Mhm. And I mean, I read that story that Indy Star did. Can you even explain like the feeling and the pain you're going through?
No, I can't. I mean, honestly, I can't even remember it because there's nothing to compare it to. It was terrible. I mean, I think I told my mom at one point, I just wish I would die because it hurt so. I was in so much pain. I felt so sick. I couldn't even move to go to the bathroom. I had to just go to the bathroom in the bed, so it was impossible for me to even get up. Um, so the pain, I don't think I could explain it. I just know I would never wish it on anybody ever. It was unbearable.
Hmm. And then what was going through your mind when you're sitting in that hospital bed? Were you thinking just like, I hope I live, or did your mind drift to basketball at all? Thinking,
No, I was actually thinking I hope I die. Just that was how miserable it was. But what, at the end of it, when I started to realize like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. I might be in pain now, but I'm gonna be okay. A couple weeks down the line, a month, 2 months down the line, I'll be all right. That's when my mind kind of started to shift, and I was like, all right, now it's time to lock back in and get back on the court. And like I said, I probably did that way too quick. And me and my parents and my high school coach still talk about it. Like we that process was too fast. I shouldn't have done it as fast as I did, but the doctors gave me the all clear to do it, so I was going to play. But yeah, I mean, towards the end of it, it was all about getting back on the court and just being back with my teammates and playing basketball again and taking my mind off of what was going on.
what was that process like of getting back to full strength, not only for basketball? Obviously, you said it was a very long process, but just everyday life as well. Like you mentioned, you couldn't really get up and go to the bathroom.
Mhm. Yeah, it was tough. I actually had to learn to re-walk again. I mean, mentally I knew how to do it, but physically my body wouldn't allow me to do it. So walked with crutches for a long time. I had a pick line in my arm that was giving me IVs. Um, just the adjustment of like learning to walk again, and then the pace that I had to be able to move at. I was really slow. I could cover one hallway would take me about 20 minutes to get down. So it took me a long time. And then once my hips and my joints started to feel better, then just trying to get back in the routine of running and getting back in shape. It wasn't an easy process, but I had a great support staff that kind of helped me ease my way back into things.
Hmm. And then what was it like? Obviously, you said your first season back at Pendleton, you played, or you only missed like 7 games.
Hmm.
What was it like that season, and then going forward into Butler? Um, how did you feel yourself evolve from like year to year in terms of getting your strength back?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was all the weight that I had lost. I was already skinny. I'm a skinny guy now. So I lost like 25 pounds through all that. Being able to try and put that weight back on was tough. But I think that was the biggest thing, was trying to get the weight back on. My shot didn't really go away. Once you get back on the court, you kind of have the feel for things, but just being able to get the strength back to be able to play even in a high school game at that point, guys were still physical. I'm trying to be able to play through bumps, play through blows, and then moving on into college. Obviously, that's a whole nother level where guys are really strong now, playing in the Big East, one of the most physical conferences in the country. That was where I really had to make my adjustment, was putting weight back on. And now, even now, another step is being able to put more strength on now. So it would have had to have happened regardless of the illness, but the illness made that even more critical for me to be able to put that strength back on so I could adjust to the game.
And then when you were first able to get back on the court, I know you weren't like practice going full go in practice, things like
Mhm.
that. But like that first shot, when you made that first shot or your first game back, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first game back, the first shot I hit with my eyes closed. Ty J Teague was closing out on me super long, and he contested the shot really well. And I actually closed my eyes out of fear of getting hit because I was still in pain, and made the shot. And I think it was relief, like I'm finally back. It's enjoyable to be back, but also like thank goodness he didn't hit me because I probably would have been out for the season if he did.
And then fast forward to your time at Butler, how were you welcomed by Coach Holtman and the rest of the team at the beginning of your career? I know, I think it was Coach Miller at the time
Mhm.
had to step down, so Coach Holtman got the interim job. So what was that like?
Yeah, so I committed to Coach Miller, and right before signing day is when he stepped down, and Holtman took over, and he didn't budge on me. He still took the shot on me and was committed to me. So I was 100% committed to Butler, still, regardless of who was going to be the coach. And they took me in with open arms, and that coaching staff really helped me grow. And then obviously Val's staff came in and they helped me grow and took advantage of my time with them too.
Hmm. And how has your recruitment changed at all through that experience?
It really wasn't, you know. Like I said, once Coach Miller stepped down, Holtman took over right away. There wasn't really any time period where it was like, who's going to be in charge here? I knew it was going to be him, and he continued to rock with me the same way that Coach Miller was. And then the same thing kind of happened with Holtman leaving. Obviously, I was already at Butler, but you have that choice to make. Do I want to stay here or leave? And it's regardless of what coach is at Butler, Butler is going to be Butler. It's going to be the same system. It's going to be the same principles. Guys are going to play hard and be unselfish. So with both coaching changes, there was no question to me that I was going to stay, and both coaches took me in with open arms and made it easy for me to transition to both of them.
And what made you choose Butler over other schools like Purdue and Indiana?
Butler offered me, but
Oh,
more seriously, I think Butler was kind of the goal destination. Um, I think if I would have stayed in the pool longer, I might have gotten offers from those schools, but it wouldn't have changed my decision at all. Butler was where I wanted to end up. It was a system that felt right to me. Um, Kellen Dunham, being from the same high school and seeing how he was doing at Butler, learning from him, listening to him about what he thought about Butler, it seemed like the perfect fit. My high school coach, Coach Hahn, kind of told me like this. I don't know that you're going to get another opportunity quite like this. It's perfect for you. Go ahead and take it. And that's how I felt in my heart. And when we had that conversation, I went home that night. I think it was a Friday night, and committed quickly after our conversation because we both knew that that was where I belonged and where I would fit best.
and you mentioned Kellen Dunham went to Pendleton and played at Butler as well. How much did you talk to him, and what kind of relationship has that been like?
Yeah, so actually, I transferred to Pendleton my sophomore year of high school, so I was never there with Kellen. But I got to know him a little bit through working out, and then obviously Coach Hahn putting us in contact. And Kellen's the nicest guy anybody's ever going to meet, so he's going to help you in any way he can. But just talking to him about how he felt about Butler, what he thought about the system, what he thought about the coaches, what he thought about the guys in the program, um, he just had nothing but good words to say about Butler, and that made that choice easier for me. And then being there with him for 1 year, I got to learn from him. I got to watch the way he approached practice, the way he approached games, and then even from there, we still work out together to this day. So he's been a big influence on my life, not only as a basketball player but as a person, and it's been really good to get to know him and kind of learn from him.
Hmm. And how much were you able to grow as a player and person at Butler?
Yeah, I think I grew a lot. I think more so off the court than I did on the court, but on the court, I think I came in as a skinny shooter, kind of an inconsistent shooter, honestly. I was kind of a streaky shooter. I think I shot like 33 or 34% my senior year of high school, so not very good for a shooter. and came in my first year at Butler and was kind of timid and felt like I didn't belong, um, and didn't shoot it very well that year. Took that as a redshirt year, and then they kind of built my confidence up. Like you belong here. This is where you should be at. And when they did that, I think I gained a lot of confidence in my shot. I started to shoot the ball better, and then from there, after my shot felt really comfortable, I was able to expand other parts of my game. Defensively, I think I got a lot better at Butler. Rebounding wise, I got a lot better, more physical, stronger. And then my shot just got a lot more consistent as I became more comfortable there and playing with really good players like Kamar Baldwin, Keelan Martin, Aaron Thompson. The list could go on forever. But other guards that are able to create gave me opportunities to be able to play off my shot and play off shot fakes and do things with the ball. And I think my role expanded last year to be able to play with the ball in my hands a little bit more.
100%. Um, what were some of your favorite memories from Butler? Maybe it'd be a game or a performance you had or anything like that.
Yeah, I think the number one thing that's going to jump out is playing in the Sweet 16. I wasn't actively playing, I wasn't on the court, but the opportunity to be a part of a team that made it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament was special. And we played a really good North Carolina team that went on to win the national championship. So it wasn't like we just got bounced out of the tournament. We played a really good team. But that experience was special. Some wins against Villanova when they were number one in the country were special. We won a tournament in Las Vegas. Really, there's countless memories from Butler that are really special. Last year was awesome, getting up to number 5 in the country. We were playing really well. I think 16-1 at one point, and then we had a little skid. But I think we had a really good team that had a really good shot to make it deep into the tournament last year as well. So I think there's countless memories that I'll hold on to forever from Butler.
And who do you think are some of the best players that you either played with or against?
Yeah, I like I said, I named some special players. Roosevelt Jones was a really good one. Kellen was a really good one. Andrew Travis, Keelan, Kamar, Tyler Wideman. Really, I played with so many good players at Butler. Guys that stand out. Aaron Thompson. Obviously, this year you can see how important it is. And even last year, when he's not on the court, we suffered, and now he's back on the court for them this year. They get a win. He was back on the court for us last year. We were winning. So he's a guy that really impacts winning. But I think all the guys that I played with are really, really talented players. Obviously, you don't get to that level without being a really good basketball player. So as far as Butler goes, I think everybody I played with was really good. Um, Away from Butler, I think Sadiq Bey last year stood out to me as the best player that we played last year. Guys like Jalen Brunson, Villanova brings in so many talented players. Mikal Bridges, Dante DiVincenzo. They had a team one year that beat us that had, I think, 7 NBA players on the team. Like, you're not going to beat a team that has 7 NBA players. Josh Hart years before, Archidiakono, they have so many guys. Miles Powell last year for Seton Hall, Marcus Howard. Chris Dunn was a really good one at Providence years ago. Providence always has a lot of really good players. Like, the Big East is just stacked with players that are unbelievably talented. That's why I think it's one of the best conferences in the country, and I don't think the Big East gets enough credit, honestly, but I think it's one of the best conferences in America.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Going or fast forward to your time, obviously with the Grizzlies. There's 2 other guys from Indiana on the team, Desmond Bain and Jaren Jackson Jr. So what's it been like playing with them, and what have those relationships kind of been like?
Yeah, I didn't really know either one of them until this year. Jaren's a little younger. Desmond's only a year younger, but from Richmond, we don't really play any schools up there.
Hmm.
And obviously being a year difference, he wasn't playing AAU against me or anything. So the relationships have kind of evolved. Obviously, the Indiana basketball connection helps, but just being able to get in the locker room, you're going to bond with guys whether they're from Indiana or not. But I think that tie, that connection, being able to talk high school basketball in Indiana has really helped in aiding those progressions of relationship.
And then the last thing I wanted to ask was, have there been any veterans that have kind of helped you or any of the other rookies as well transition into becoming a pro both on and off the court?
Yeah, I think, I'm 24, so I'm almost as old as anybody else on the team. I'm older than half the guys on the team. But there's guys like Jaren's been in the league, what, 3 years now.
Hmm.
So still being able to learn from guys that are younger than me. But I don't even think it's been a vet thing. I think we have some vets in the locker room that are really good, and have helped us out. But I think every single guy on the team, whether this is their second year there, their sixth year, or their 10th year in the league, it doesn't matter. Um, they're more than willing to help out and give advice where it's needed. And they've been pretty easy on us in terms of rookie duties. But that you can tell that they care and they just want to win, and they're going to help us out in any way that they can.
Hmm. Well, that's great to hear, man. Thank you so much again for coming on. I don't want to hold you too long, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But I mean, good luck the rest of the way, both you and the Grizzlies, and stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, for sure.